What makes you happy? Well, I hope that we can find that out. I hope that you find that out for yourself, and I hope that I can find that out as well. But you know, I'm actually pretty happy today, and I'm pretty happy every day, and everyone tries to be happy, and that's the end of, really in the end, that's all that is important, and that's all that matters. And you know, this is about teaching you to find that balance, that center, understanding where you are and where you should be. And Kim Grimshaw joins us on set this morning, and we're talking Pilates, because you know, when we talk about mind, body, and soul and finding that balance, you know, physical activity, your physical well-being is super important. And Kim is Pilates, she's a Pilates instructor, practitioner.
Yes.
And she has a number of classes that takes place at the Cape Park Hotel. Now, Kim, how did you get involved in Pilates?
Well, I started off as a dancer and danced professionally for a number of years, and unfortunately got injured and found that Pilates was a very good way of rehabilitating my injury. And so I became very interested in that, and then decided to train more fully. And I trained in London and trained a lot of professional athletes and a lot of people with injuries, and I fell in love with it. It's my passion and it's what I do.
Now, understanding Pilates, is it very popular in Trinidad and Tobago?
No, I don't think it's very popular.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's a lack of awareness of the benefits of Pilates. People are not sure what it's about. And Pilates simply is a set of principles that promotes the ease and efficiency of movement. So whether it's an elderly gentleman hoping to keep mobile, or it's a professional athlete, a cricketer trying to improve his swing, it relates. Pilates is for everyone.
Now, just for the general public out there, I'm assuming everyone knows what Pilates is. What is Pilates in terms of understanding the type of exercise it is? What is it?
Okay, well, it's a set of, as I said, a set of principles that promote the ease and efficiency of movement. The principles would involve the use of the breath and how breath facilitates ease of movement. It's about posture, it's about axial elongation, it's about lengthening the spine. It's about integration of movement. It's about centering. It's about strengthening your center to keep your spine safe, so that when you move carefully and are a lot less prone to injury.
How can Pilates be linked to your happiness?
Because if you are well in your body and in your spirit, then of course that will bring a sense of happiness to you. And also, people underestimate the use of the breath and how breath can keep you calm when life gets hard. And and life gets hard for everyone. So it's about managing that stress level when things get hard. And if you practice your use of breath and how to stay calm and centered within a moment, that can also promote happiness.
How is Pilates different to yoga?
Pilates is different. I'll tell you how it's similar in that there is that mind-body connection.
Right.
So it's similar to that. It's different in that we're more concerned along the lines of alignment and working in a specific way. It's not in terms of a spinal alignment. That's the priority and the key. So that it maybe sometimes it's different. There's still some similarities that you do work on the floor. A lot of Pilates studios have specific equipment that is not like yoga.
Right.
So there are some similarities and there are some differences. Both are equally good.
In terms of flexibility, do you become more flexible doing Pilates?
Yes, but it's not a reason to do Pilates.
Yeah.
I always say, people say to me, "Oh, I can't do Pilates. I'm not flexible."
Yeah, because that's one of the words that's always linked to Pilates.
Yes. What I would expect from my 80-year-old client that I'm teaching is not what I'm going to expect from a professional dancer. You know, it's different for each person, and everyone works to their own bodies and to their own strengths. So it's not about how flexible you can get. Yes, of course it promotes flexibility, but I try not to
use that as a marketing tool.
Yes.
But in terms,
there's so much more to it.
What else is there to it?
Because when you are laying on a mat and you are focusing on a movement that is specific, it's not vai-ki-vai, everything is specific. You build a sense of concentration. Hence, it's the reason why the professional athletes, the rugby players, the All Blacks in New Zealand, they use it. The cricketers in London, they use it. Because it's a tool for concentration. It's a tool for being specific. And when they do that and then incorporate what I teach on the mat into their regular training program, whatever it may be, whether it's cricket or rugby or dance, they help improve their performance. That's in terms of professional athletes. In terms of a simple young lady wanting to improve her posture, she knows that For example, changing a light bulb. This is not the place to be. A sense of dropping the shoulder down, a sense of lengthening the spine. It brings an awareness to your body and then helps. Then you wonder, well, okay, my shoulder aches.
Right.
But then if you didn't bring that awareness that maybe you should keep your shoulders down, then
because I just wanted to ask you
won't be
about
happy.
the concentration that you were speaking about.
Yes.
How does it help with your concentration?
Because of the use of breath, you'll find that once you are concentrating on your breath, it is very difficult to concentrate on a problem that's going on in your mind. So very often we have problems that are reoccurring in our minds over and over and over again. And if you take a moment to just breathe, a moment of silence, to just calm, that settles you down. And then if you count your breath, if you manage to count your breath, maybe 1 to 10, 1 to 10, over and over, it's very difficult to count your breath and still think of a problem that's tormenting you in your brain, and
so
that promotes calmness and quiet.
It is true when you're overwhelmed, just stop and count to 10.
Yeah, well, yes.
I should probably do it 1 to 100 sometimes, depending on the extent of.
But it's
of your
not just
problem.
about the counting; it's about the breath. It's the breath is an amazing thing.
Now, you talk about the breath and looking at that linked to Pilates and with yoga. People use the term a shallow breath or a breathe
Deep breathing.
from. What
Yes.
exactly is the difference?
Well, a lot of people, and a lot of people breathe, it's normal, they don't even think about it. They breathe, they heave up and down, and certainly when life gets hard, road rage on the road, they go and they stop breathing. That's the first thing that they do. They stop their breath when life gets hard. So what Pilates promotes is that you want to breathe out when life gets hard, because when you breathe out, and again, it's not this heaving north to south breath. We try to breathe here, trying to allow the breath to expand, and then on the exhalation, pulling the belly button to the spine helps protect the spine, and it helps a sense of calmness, because you're not shoulders and neck heaving when you're breathing. Like you see some runners running around and then they stop and they start to pant. It's more use of control, a way of finding control and stillness within yourself.
The difficulty level of Pilates, and also are there, who is it really recommended to? Is there?
It's recommended for everyone, because if you have the right practitioner in front of you, well, again, as I've said to you before, if I'm teaching a professional athlete or professional dancer, it's not what I'm going to teach my 8-year-old client who is with me. You know, it's different. If you can, because there are lots of remedial exercises. This is why it's such a preference for physiotherapists and osteopaths and chiropractors. They would recommend Pilates to their clients as part of their rehabilitation program.
Is it about toning, losing weight? Because, you know, with women especially, they're like, okay, can I lose my tummy? Can I lose?
Well,
what exactly?
It can be what it can be for some people. For example, you know, I teach pre and postnatal Pilates. So yes, certainly that engagement, finding, strengthening your pelvic floor muscles, for example, after one has had a baby. Yes, it certainly promotes pulling everything back together once the baby has been born. So yes, I would say yes, but it's a tool. It's not. I'm not suggesting to you that you should just do Pilates and then you will lose 40 pounds. That's not what I'm saying. It's a great tool to incorporate what you with whatever else that you're doing. It's a way of life. Because I can't just suddenly say to you in an hour, this is the way you should breathe, this way, and pull your tummy in and stand tall, and then you walk out of class, and then you're in front of your computer and you're doing this. You have to, it has to be a practice, it has to be a way of life, and that's when you see the benefits. Suddenly your neck and shoulders don't hurt anymore because you're not putting yourself in uncomfortable positions. And half of these uncomfortable positions are done without awareness, because you're accustomed to talking on the telephone like this, and you think that's normal, and then in the evening you're wondering why your shoulders and neck are hurting without even an awareness that your shoulders were up by your ears for most of the day. So with that stillness and quiet of the breath, and the movements are so slow and controlled, you are then able to find a sense of where I'm at, where my shoulders should be, how I should stand, where my feet are. Good posture starts from the feet up, so standing on both feet. Most Western women, we like to pose and send the butt out and sink into one hip. That's not exactly a great way to promote good posture. It may not affect you at 20, but let's see what happens when you're 50 or 60. Stand, big toe, little toe, and heel pressing into the floor, lift up. It's a way of life.
And I know that you say that you do a lot of remedial work as well.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about that. Okay. So after any injury, Pilates can help how?
Well, certainly after you've seen your doctor, because I'm not a doctor, and the doctor may then recommend that you do gentle exercises. It may not be wise, for example, to go to a gym, start doing a heavy aerobic activity, for example, if you have a knee injury. So you would want to start re-educating the body to see perhaps what you were doing in the past, because again, it's all about awareness. What were you doing in the past that might have that is repetitive, that might have created this injury? And then you start finding things out about yourself, because again, the movements are so slow, so controlled. You have no choice but to think about what you're doing. And when you have to add on the thinking of how you breathe as well with every movement, because the breath will then facilitate the ease of the movement. That's how it works.
Is it similar to Tai Chi?
No, I would not say so. Yes, in the sense of the slowness of it, yes.
Because you keep mentioning the pace of it.
Yes.
And I know that a lot of Hollywood actresses, they swear by Pilates.
Yes.
Jennifer Aniston, I think, is one of those. But most people look at it and they think it's really just about strength training and core training.
Yes, I think most people do because again you mentioned Jennifer Aniston, and it's kind of cool for them to do that. But really, Pilates started with Joseph Pilates, who's the founder of it. He started training the New York City Ballet when he first moved to New York, and so it was really more about gaining strength and recovering from injuries, and that's how it started. So yes, it's cool because yes, everyone is doing it. But how I get my happiness from this is seeing, in particular, because I have an affinity for the elderly. I love seeing an elderly man who's complaining about his lower back, and we do these gentle exercises, and he says, "Oh, thank you so much. You know, I feel good today. I don't feel that pain anymore," and that makes me happy.
How long would it take? Obviously, it depends on the extent of the injury, but how soon will people normally see some sort of change in their condition?
Well, Joseph Pilates used to say 10 sessions and you'll see a difference, you'll feel a difference. 20 sessions, you start to really feel it. In 30 sessions, you'll have a different body. That was his saying, words to that effect. So it's different for everyone, and I'm not a miracle worker, but you know, I'm very careful with clients, and everyone is different. And everyone works at a different pace. And what I would say is that one session is not going to cut it, because it's a practice. It's a way of life.
As we wrap this interview, your source of happiness, let's share with Trinidad and Tobago the happiness that Pilates can actually bring to you.
Happiness, for me, is making someone happy by making them well. And happiness also is a decision. You have to make it inside yourself, because everyone can be unhappy if they chose to. The wealthy, the poor. There are a lot of rich people who are unhappy.
True.
So it's a decision inside yourself. Make it.
It's a decision to be happy, and no matter what happens, just be happy. I'm Haim Ramsden. This is The Morning Brew, and don't forget, we're coming to you live from Rethink.